I help companies increase their organizational capability, thoughtful people strategy, and transformation. Actually, my first career was in accounting, and I wanted to be a CPA. And so I matriculated, I did that, I worked in a space, and then I got an opportunity to work in sales. Someone said to me one day, "You're really good at this." They said, "Are you sure you want to be an accountant? Are you sure?"
You took that advice.
I did. I took the long way.
What would you think back and say, you know what, this is something I needed then?
To continue to trust yourself, your intuition doesn't lead you astray, but make those connections, make those relationships sooner rather than later.
Tell me something that was the aha moment in my career. That's the thing that I'm using.
One of my earlier mentors, actually, she taught me that everyone has something to say, even if they don't always raise their hand.
If you could go back and tell your younger self one phrase, what would you say? Hey everybody, my name is Lee Case Jr. and we are back with another episode of 15 Minutes With. So listen, I am here with Jasmine Anderson. I had the opportunity to meet Jasmine back in January at the Evolve conference right here in Atlanta. Now, Jasmine has spent a career focused on HR, people strategy, and solving complex problems for organizations. Jasmine, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
So Jasmine, tell me a little bit about you and what is it that you do?
Yeah, so I'm a wife, a mother, a strategist. I help companies increase their organizational capability through thoughtful people strategy and transformation.
So what is thoughtful people strategy and practice? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's making sure that we are measured and making sure that what we do as people is aligned to the business in the most ethical and sustainable way. It's all about making sure that our growth is metered so that it's functional, impactful. My goal is to make sure that we're being balanced in our approach so that we don't have to lay off workforces. We're being intentional and we have foresight about the challenges that could present itself down the road.
So how long have you been in HR? Like, and was
Yeah.
this like your dream, or did you wake up one day and was like, HR, that's the one.
Yeah,
Let's go.
no, it was not that. Actually, my first career was in accounting. That
Wow.
was my first career. And I wanted to be a CPA. And so I matriculated, I did that, I worked in a space. And then I got an opportunity to work in sales and coach others um, to hit milestones and increase, adoption and things like that and market share for the telecommunication space. And someone said to me one day, "You're really good at this."
Mm.
I was a high executor. They said, "Are you sure you want to be an accountant? Are you sure?"
Are you sure you want to play with numbers
We
all day,
They
every day?
said, I think of an accountant, and I think about somebody who's in a dingy, basement
Oh my
crunching
gosh. You're
numbers.
married to a recovering accountant.
Okay, recovery, because it's always a part of you.
Yeah.
And they just said, "You just have such an explosive personality.
Wow.
You really should look at a career in managing people and in HR."
Wow. So you took that advice.
I did. I took the long way
Okay.
to do that, but I got my start actually within that same role. I was able to be promoted into a trainer, a field trainer position, where I helped sales professionals increase T-Mobile's market share.
Mm.
And as a result, we were able to contribute to 500% sales growth across managed accounts. And so then I learned that, you know what? Numbers tell a story, but people write it.
There's a girl, wonderful HR person named Sierra.
Yeah.
And she says, if you don't understand what the business does, how can you lead it? How can you support it? How can you, as an HR professional, really tap into what it needs to grow and to support and sustain itself? So I think starting in the business, especially for you, you deeply understood what it was that they were trying to accomplish. And then I'm assuming that's how you got it from a workforce or HR perspective.
Absolutely. It made integration into the people side that much more easier once you understand the business outside in.
So if you could go back to your younger self, okay, little Jasmine.
Little Jasmine.
Okay, which probably wasn't that long ago, okay?
Oh, thanks for the compliment.
What would you say to yourself as you look at your career? What would you think back and say, "You know what? This is something I needed then." I wish I knew it then.
Mm, what could I tell myself then that I know now?
Yes.
Was to continue to trust yourself. Your intuition doesn't lead you astray. Um, but make those connections, make those relationships, find those sponsors sooner rather than later.
So as you think about, things you would do differently, things that have maybe even things that have impacted your career the most. Tell me something that you're like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I either A knew it sooner or that was the thing that was like, aha, that was the aha moment in my career. That's the thing that I'm using every day."
I would say the thing that has changed the trajectory of my career the most would be one of my earlier mentors, actually. Her name is Karen M. And I met her in a very, very unique way. But she taught me that everyone has something to say, even if they don't always raise their hand.
Mm.
She made sure that I understood as a leader, it was my job to create space for employees to best perform.
You know what's interesting? There was a team member that I worked with some time back who never spoke up in meetings, always performed well, like work product was great, but didn't speak up in meetings. And I'm like, "Hello, you in there?" And I pulled him to the side and I'm like, "Hey, is everything okay?" And what he said was, "Everybody else at the table is so loud
Hmm.
that I didn't think that there was space for me to speak." So
Absolutely.
I tried to work through that with him and actually call on him in meetings like, "Hey, you have something you want to add?" And it created a space. And eventually, after about 6, 7 months of this, he just jumped right in. But sometimes people have to know that their voice matters, that what they have to say deserves to be heard.
Absolutely. It's about creating that psychologically safe environment. I had examples that mirrored that almost one to one is quite scary. And what I found is that some of the most robust ideas truly come from those individuals. I led a pilot of an innovation hub at my most recent tech company, and it was about getting and eliciting input anywhere throughout the organization at any level. And we were able to implement and beta test and A B test solutions that would increase efficiency. And so we had a very successful program come out of something just like that.
When you think about success and like maybe what the next 3 to 5 years of your life looks like, what does that story say?
Oh, wow. That has been the culmination of all my past experience of helping companies thrive through transformation and high growth environments that would lead me ultimately to a chief human resource officer or chief people officer role where I'm able to direct strategy in the clearest way and increase organizational capability and efficiency.
So you mentioned earlier, you're a mom.
I am.
Okay. How many kids? Can I ask this
Two.
question?
You can.
Okay.
Two.
2 kids,
Yes.
boy, girl, girl.
2 girls.
Oh,
Yes.
oh,
Mhm.
okay. I have a daughter.
Yes.
I'm a new dad.
Oh.
What would you say to a new parent?
Oh
I'm
my
asking selfishly for me, like,
gosh.
tell me all the Jasmine tricks, please.
Man, make the time, be
Mm,
present, because when people say it goes fast, it happens in spurts. At different points and periods, you're like, wow, this seems to be taking long. But then it accelerates. And luckily enough for me, I'm seeing it from both ends. I have a kid that is in college and then one who is still in grade school. So I'm tempered right now.
okay. One out the door,
Yeah.
one headed to the door.
And out the door physically, but not financially.
Well, yeah,
Yes,
well,
that part.
that's the after
Yes,
effects.
yes.
So what is she studying?
She wants to criminal justice
Okay.
major. She wants to be an attorney.
Okay.
So we're very excited about that and her growth path.
Wow. So is pre-law or already on the JD side?
Undergrad, pre-law.
Okay. So as you think, I want to go through some rapid fire questions here.
Okay.
Okay. Now brace yourself for
All right.
impact. So we're gonna start this, and here's how it works. I want the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Okay. And at the end of this, I'll give you two questions that you get to ask me.
All right.
All right. So if your life was a lifetime movie, what would it be called?
Ooh. Fast and Furious.
If you could go back and tell your younger self one phrase, what would you say?
Amazon.
Buy it, hold on to it.
Hold.
You're gonna be rich. Okay. Hot or cold?
Hot.
Salty or sweet?
Sweet.
Okay, thank you.
You're very
Listen,
welcome.
shout out to Julia Arpack. She was just on last week. Who said salty? We love her. We are judging her
Yes.
silently and out loud officially at this
This
point.
is not a judgment-free zone.
This that's a shirt. This is not a judgment-free zone.
Yes.
Um, I got one more I'd like to ask
Okay.
on this rapid fire journey.
All right.
Okay. Now this is gonna break people's hearts.
Oh, no. Okay.
Dogs or cats, and why?
Oh, that's easy.
Okay.
Dogs, because I like them, and cats are a no, because I don't, simply put.
For all of you cat lovers, don't hit my comments, okay?
That would be my youngest daughter right there
Okay.
too. I have
Wants a cat.
yeah, wants a cat
Oh
badly.
my gosh.
Yes, but we already have a Maltipoo, so
Okay.
Mm.
Now I'm gonna give you a chance here to ask me a couple questions.
okay. I want to know from you, what has been the single most important thing that has happened to you to impact who you are today?
Uh, I would say right off, it would be my grandfather's funeral,
Okay.
December of 2019. And
Sorry to hear that.
that's okay. He was older, he had a good life, he had a great life.
Okay.
Okay. He lived all his life.
He lived well.
He lived well. Okay.
Okay.
And he was loved. But when my grandfather was a mechanic in this very small place called Springfield, Tennessee.
Okay.
And when people couldn't necessarily pay for their automotive services, he would instead say, "Hey, you can just give me your lawnmower and I'll still work on your car." When he died, he had literally like 20 plus lawnmowers and his push, riding, both,
Yes.
all the things.
All of them.
And people came to his funeral. This small town with his name was Joe. My grandfather, he had a 1971 Chevy C10 truck, but he also drove a riding lawnmower through the city. So this man who would drive a riding lawnmower through the city, people came to his funeral for him, for his family. And I thought that's the life that I want to have. I want to get to the end of my life and say and hope that people come and just see me.
Oh
The
my
door.
gosh.
He didn't have a lot of money. He didn't have no podcast. He wasn't solving complex HR problems. He was just a good person. And that's what I strive to be. And that's something that lingers. Like when I have critical decisions at work or in my personal life, I always try to balance it with how do I want to be remembered? And what's
Mm.
the impact of that?
And that guides you.
Yeah.
And it shapes your, the way you connect and show up.
Yeah.
I can certainly see that.
Yeah.
It's very earnest. I want to give you that compliment. You're very welcome. My second question for
Yes.
you. So it will dovetail into that.
Okay.
If money and talent were not an issue,
Mm.
didn't matter how much money it did pay or didn't pay,
Mm.
or truthfully, if you possessed the talent to do it or not, if those were not an issue, what would you be doing and why?
What I'm doing
Okay.
at this point, what I'm doing. Because there's so much here, and people think that HR is just like hiring people and firing people. There's strategy,
Absolutely.
there's business continuity, there's executive direction and presence, there is technology, there's
Yes.
anthropology, there's change management, there's stockholder and stakeholder
Architecture.
investment. Everything that you do in HR, it's not just one little thing. It's an entire domain that touches every facet of the business. So I love it.
I am so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Mm.
So listen, we've come to the end of our time.
All right. Oh, so soon.
In the words of TD Jakes, the time cometh and now is. So
And so it is so.
how do people find you, Jasmine?
I am on LinkedIn as Jasmine Anderson. I'm also on Instagram as Right Type.
Okay. Listen, everybody, in the words of, let's go with this one. In the words of my mother, okay? Your rights end where someone else's rights begin, and your rights begin where someone else's rights end. Stay within your boundaries and control the world that you can control. Everything else, hopefully, will work itself out in the end. See y'all.